When I first started trying to live more sustainably, I thought that meant switching every single thing to glass immediately and shopping at farmers markets every single week. And while that is kind of part of it, there is so much more that I wish I had known when I first started. The mindset shifts, the mistakes, the little wins. So today I'm sharing 30 things that I really wish someone had told me when I first started my eco-friendly living journey. Things that would have saved me time, money, guilt. Whether you're just starting out or you're deep into your sustainability journey, I hope this helps you feel less alone and more inspired. Hi, I'm Maria. I share a lot about conscious consumerism, sustainability, minimalism, slow living, and some cooking. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If any of that sounds interesting to you, you'd probably vibe with the rest of my content. Like this video if you want to see some more general sustainability long-form content. I use likes to determine what I should keep making content on. I've been living sustainably for over 10 years, which is wild to think about that it's actually been that long. I have learned so much over the years, and I want to share as much of that knowledge as possible. These are all things that I really wish I had known like day one of my journey. One of the biggest things for me to learn was that the most sustainable item is the one that you already own. It took me way longer than I'd like to admit to learn this, as in I've been living sustainably for over 10 years and I just caught on to this a couple of years ago. I thought I had to swap out everything for the shiny eco versions. And don't get me wrong, I am all for switching out plastic because of the impacts on the human body. But buying new stuff, even if it's marked as eco or green, still leaves a footprint. True sustainability comes from using and repairing and kind of rethinking what you already have. Progress over perfection. You've probably heard that a million times. I wasted time stressing over the small details instead of just starting. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to try to be better than yesterday. Food waste is a bigger deal than skipping the plastic straws or carrying around bamboo utensils. Planning meals and composting your food waste makes a huge difference. And secondhand shopping is not just for thrifters and hippies. It's stylish, affordable, and saves a ton of resources. Slowing down is part of it too, and living sustainably is not a race. It's a lifestyle change, and it takes time to build those habits. Your choices matter, and even small changes will add up when millions of people are doing them. So start where you are with what you've got. Sustainability is not about being perfect. It's about caring enough to try. That's where real change begins. Number 2, you can't do it all at once, and that's okay. I used to think I had to swap everything right away to be able to call myself a sustainable person. I had to compost and grow my own food, shop zero waste, reduce my energy use, switch to clean products, conserve water, make everything from scratch, DIY everything, and live off grid, all at once. But trying to do it all at once just leads to burnout and guilt. Real change happens one habit at a time. Start small, use what you have. Focus on progress, not perfection. Sustainability is not a destination. It's a lifelong practice. Some days it looks like composting and line drying your laundry. I can't do that in the winter. Other days it's saying no to a fast fashion haul or just remembering your reusable bag at the grocery store. Every little bit counts. You don't have to do everything. You just have to care enough to do something. Keep going, keep learning, keep showing up. Number 3, food waste is a bigger deal than your plastic straw. When I first started this journey, I was so focused on the small things, like swapping plastic straws for metal ones. And don't get me wrong, those kinds of swaps do matter, but in the bigger picture, they're a drop in the ocean. The truth is, food waste has a far greater environmental impact than your single straw that you get from a takeout coffee. When food is just thrown out, all of the resources that went into growing, processing, and transporting the food are wasted too. And once it hits the landfill, it releases methane, which is a greenhouse gas that's far more potent than carbon dioxide. Reducing food waste is one of the most effective ways that we can reduce our individual footprint. It starts with meal planning, storing food properly, using what we have, and composting what we can't eat. Number 4, DIY cleaners actually work, and they save so much money. I used to think that I needed fancy products with a very long ingredient list to clean things, and don't get me wrong, there is a time and a place. But once I started making my own cleaners with vinegar, isopropyl alcohol, and baking soda, and a little essential oil to help with the smell, I realized how simple and effective it can be. They're better for the planet, they're better for indoor air quality, and way cheaper than constantly needing to buy new bottles full of harsh chemicals. Plus, I can make exactly what I need when I need it without the extra waste. I actually switched to DIY cleaners because I get really bad migraines with chemical smells. Life-changing. Number 5, I think. I didn't label these. You'll start to find joy in routines that you used to avoid. I used to dread things like mending clothes and refilling jars or cooking from scratch because honestly, it all just felt like a chore. But something shifts when you start to learn to live with intention. The chores kind of become rituals. And there's something deeply satisfying about sewing a hole in a shirt or sewing a button back on instead of throwing it out, or refilling my hand soap bottles at a refill store instead of buying a new plastic one at the grocery store. It slows you down, but in the best way. You realize that maintenance is a form of care, not just for your stuff, but also for yourself and the planet. The small acts kind of build a rhythm, almost like grounding. It's no longer just about convenience, it's about connection. Connection to your belongings, your time, your values. And the more you do it, the more natural it feels. Sustainability teaches patience, but coming with that, it also teaches peace. It's not just about saving the earth, but it's about rediscovering the joy that you have every day. Growing your food is humbling and joyful. I used to think gardening was just something you did if you had tons of space and tons of time or a magical green thumb. But when I first started gardening my first year in deck pots on my back patio, it kind of changed everything. Now I have 3 garden beds and a bunch more deck pots. But watching your food grow slowly and imperfectly, it gives you a whole new respect for what goes into everything that's on your plate. You learn patience when seeds don't sprout or take a really long time to sprout. I'm learning how to not be upset when potato bugs eat my plants. You learn gratitude when things do sprout, and it's humbling how much effort goes into growing a single tomato. But it's also so much fun, and it brings me a lot of joy. Checking my plants first thing in the morning after I've had my morning coffee in the calm of the morning is so nice. Or the first harvest of the season is just amazing. Growing your own food brings you closer with the seasons, the soil, and yourself. What you grow is not always perfect, but it is always worth it. Next thing, convenience is hard to give up, but it's not impossible. We live in a world built for convenience. 2-day shipping, drive-thrus, pre-packaged everything. And when I first started living sustainably, trying to give all of that up at once was overwhelming. I missed the ease, and I often questioned whether or not I was just making things harder for myself. But over time, I realized that convenience isn't the enemy. It's the dependency on convenience that's the problem. So when you start building your own system slowly, like bringing your reusable bags to the store, cooking simple meals at home, or saying no to the one-click orders, it does get easier. Not overnight, but gradually. What used to feel like a hassle kind of becomes second nature. And it does feel pretty good to be a bit more involved in my own life. You don't have to give up every convenience, just the ones that don't align with your values. Sustainability is about being more intentional. And once you find your rhythm, you won't feel like you're missing out on the shortcuts. Next, you're allowed to evolve. What works for you one year might not work the next. In the beginning, I thought once I'd found the right routine or the right products that I would be set for life. But the truth is that life changes, seasons shift. Schedules get busier, budgets get tighter, or they open up, priorities shift, and that's okay. Maybe you had the time to bake your own bread one year, and the next you're just trying to keep up with work and life. Maybe you swore off all plastic, but recognize later on that flexibility is important in some seasons. That doesn't mean you failed. It just means you're human. Living sustainably isn't about locking yourself in one perfect way to do things. Stay open, stay curious, and adapt as you grow. Give yourself permission to change. It's okay. Let go of what no longer serves you and try something new. The goal is never perfection, it's progress. And the more grace you give yourself, the more sustainable your life actually becomes. Next, you don't need to replace everything with eco-friendly alternatives. In fact, the most sustainable choice is not replacing things at all. But when something truly needs replacing, I aim for high quality instead of something that's just labeled eco. I used to get caught up in swapping everything that I owned for like the more eco version. Bamboo this, compostable that. But if it's poorly made, it's not going to last, even if the label says that it's eco-friendly or green. High quality items, whether you buy them secondhand, they're thoughtfully made, they last longer, they work better, they save you money and resources in the long run. It's not about jumping on every trend either. It's about choosing things that truly align with your lifestyle. Durable over disposable, timeless over trendy. The real shift is moving from impulse to intention. Living sustainably does not mean constantly consuming, it just means consuming differently. Slow down, buy less, and choose better when you do. Okay, next, You will still make waste, but it doesn't mean that you're failing. I used to beat myself up over every little piece of plastic, every non-compostable wrapper, and everything that ended up in the trash. We live in a system that makes waste pretty much unavoidable. Shifting that system takes time, it takes effort, and it takes collective change. The goal isn't zero overnight. That's not going to work for everybody. It's less over time. What matters is being mindful, doing what you can, and learning as you go. One bag of trash does not erase all of the good that you've done. Every habit you change, every item you reuse, every conscious choice counts. Give yourself grace. You're not failing, you're learning. Sustainability isn't about making zero waste. It's about making better choices more often and knowing that your effort still matters even if it's not perfect. Okay, next, I feel the sweat at my core every single day still. You don't need 15 mason jars to start a low waste pantry. I used to think that I needed the picture perfect setup, the matching mason jars, tidy labels, an aesthetic open shelf before I could start reducing waste in the kitchen. But here's the truth. You start with what you have. Old pasta sauce jars are amazing. Reused yogurt containers, awesome. A sturdy takeout tub that you can reuse, even better. They all work. Living low waste is not about aesthetics. It's about function. The goal is to reduce waste, not to buy more to make it look the part. This doesn't apply for canning because you do need safe canning jars, but check secondhand. Over time, you can build the kind of pantry that looks good to you, but don't let it hold you back from starting. Use what's in your kitchen, refill what you can, and skip the pressure to make it Instagram worthy. The best sustainable systems are the ones that fit in your life now and don't just look good on the shelf. Next, second hand does not mean second best. There's a lot of negativity sometimes around thrifting and I don't get it. For the longest time, I always thought that thrifting or buying things secondhand was just settling. But honestly, it's one of the best shifts I've made in my sustainability journey. Secondhand items often have a quality that you can't buy nowadays. Plus, every time you choose thrifted, it keeps items out of landfills. It reduces the demand for new resources too. Thrifting is not just for budget conscious people. It's a smart and sustainable choice for everyone. It also feels really good to find something unique and give it a new life and know you're making a positive impact on the planet. So next time you need something, try secondhand first. It might surprise you. Next, you can opt out of trends and still live a full life. It took me a while to realize that I didn't need to chase every single new eco trend or must-have sustainable product. It's not actually a must-have, I promise. Living sustainably is not about having the newest green gadget. It's about finding what truly works best for you and your lifestyle. You don't have to buy into every hype to make a difference. Sometimes the simplest and most timeless choices are just using what you have already, repairing instead of replacing, and just slowing down. Those are the choices that are the most powerful. Opting out of trends helps you reduce waste, and it lets you focus on what actually matters. Sustainability is personal. It's not a popularity contest. Next, composting is not gross and it's not as hard as it sounds. I'll be honest, I used to cringe every time I thought about dealing with food scraps, but once I gave it a try, I realized it's actually kind of simple. Composting is just nature doing its thing, breaking down scraps into rich, nutrient-dense soil to help your plants grow and thrive. You don't even need a big backyard or big fancy equipment. A small bin or a worm composter will work. Plus, it cuts down on landfill waste and reduces greenhouse gas emissions. Start small, learn as you go, and don't stress. Compost is a game changer, and once you start, I promise it'll feel like second nature. Okay, next. Buying in bulk is not always sustainable, especially if you're not going to use it all. I thought buying in bulk was greener with less packaging, fewer trips to the store, but it kind of defeats the purpose if you let that food go to waste. It cancels out those benefits. So buying more of what you need leads to spoiled food, clutter, stress. True sustainability is about buying right, not more. 25-pound bags of sugar and flour, yeah, we'll go through it. But 12 jars of peanut butter? No. Plan your meals, learn your consumption habits, and only buy what you'll actually use. Sometimes smaller, more frequent trips to the grocery store or sharing your bulk buying with friends or family can be smarter. It's actually about the balance, not about the bulk. Next, cooking from scratch saves more than just money. It cuts costs, but it also reduces packaging waste. It helps you control your ingredients, and it helps you actually connect with your food in a different way than takeout does. I used to think cooking from scratch was time-consuming and complicated, which is weird coming from a cookbook author. But 4 or 5 years ago, it became a form of self-care and creativity. It slows you down, it helps you plan better, and it reduces food waste because you're making what you'll actually eat. And homemade meals just taste better. It's a small change with a big impact for your wallet, your health, and the planet. Not everyone will get it, and that's okay. When I first started making eco-friendly changes, I wanted everyone around me to do them too and understand and support my choices. But the truth is, sustainability looks different for everyone, and not everyone is ready or interested in making those changes right away. That doesn't mean that your efforts are not valid or not important. Your journey is yours, and it's okay if others don't get it right away. Focus on what feels right for you and lead by example, and be patient. Sometimes the best way to inspire change is by living your values more quietly and consistently. Your impact does matter, even if it's not always seen and understood. Next, community groups and buy nothing swap groups are gold. When I first started, I thought sustainability was a complete solo journey. It's not. You need community. Discovering local buy nothing groups and swap groups has completely changed my life. The communities make it easy to share, to borrow, and give away items instead of buying new. It saves money, reduces waste, and builds connections with your neighbors in your community. And plus, it's fun. You never know what treasures you might find. These groups are proof that sustainability is stronger together. Next, meal planning cuts down on waste and is a huge stress and time saver. At first, I thought planning all my meals was way too rigid, but once I tried it, I realized that it made all the difference and got rid of my decision fatigue. Knowing what you'll cook also means less last-minute takeout, less impulse buys at the grocery store, and less food forgotten in the back of your pantry. It saves money, time, and mental energy. Plus, it helps you shop smarter and use what you have. Meal planning is not about perfection or restriction. It's about making life easier and more sustainable, one meal at a time. Next, progress over perfection. You've probably heard that a million times, but small steps will add up. When I first started, I wanted to do everything perfectly right away, live zero waste, all organic all the time, but that just led to frustration and burnout. Every small change counts, like reusing a bag, composting one's food scraps. The tiny actions add up over time and make a big difference. Celebrate your progress no matter how small, because it's better than standing still. Next, sustainability looks different for everyone. When I first started, I really thought that sustainability was a one-size-fits-all and that everybody had to do everything the same. But over time, I realized what works for me might not work for you, and that's okay. Some people focus on reducing waste. Some people focus on eating plant-based. Some conserve more water than others, and some shop only local businesses. Everyone's journey is unique, and it's shaped by their individual values, resources, and lifestyle. The most important thing is not comparison. It's about finding what actually feels meaningful and what is actually doable for you. When we honor our own paths, sustainability becomes way more joyful and you learn a lot more. Marketing will sell you a green lifestyle. You don't have to buy it. Everywhere you look, brands are pushing the most eco-friendly products, promising that it is the key to save the planet. But again, sustainability is not about buying more stuff. It's about buying less, choosing well, and being mindful. Just because something says green does not mean that it's actually sustainable. Take a step back, ask if it actually fits your values, ask yourself if you actually need it, and don't feel pressured to keep up with every single trend. Change comes from conscious choices, not consumerism. The power is actually in what you don't buy. Next, shopping less is actually more powerful than shopping better. When I first started, I thought that just buying the new eco-friendly product was the answer, but I quickly learned that it's not really about what you buy, it's about buying less. Reducing consumption overall saves more resources and waste than just swapping to the greener option. Focus on slowing down, resisting impulse purchases, closing out of your online shopping carts, and asking yourself if you really need it before adding it to your cart. Sustainability starts with less, not more, even if that more claims to be green or eco-friendly. Keep an eye out for greenwashing. Next, preparing your own snacks is a game changer. We used to grab packaged snacks all the time, not even putting a second thought into it. But once we switched to an ingredients household and started making our own, everything changed. Homemade snacks cut down on waste from the plastic packaging, they're healthier, and they save money, and prepping ahead means you're less likely to reach for convenience foods that don't actually align with your values. Having your own snacks keeps you refueled, reduces impulse buying, and does make sustainable living easier. Next, eco-anxiety is real. Take breaks when you need to. Caring deeply about the planet can sometimes be very heavy and overwhelming. I've been there, feeling stressed and guilty and overwhelmed, and helpless about all the environmental problems around us. It's okay to acknowledge those feelings and give yourself a moment to step back. Sustainability is a lifelong journey. It's not a sprint, and it shouldn't be a burden. Taking breaks does not mean that you're giving up. It means that you're caring for yourself. Balance is key. Be kind to yourself. Small actions done with love make a big difference. You can still care about fashion, beauty, or tech and still live sustainably. When I first started this journey, I thought I had to give up everything like that just to be like green enough. But sustainability is not about sacrifice. It's about making mindful choices with things that you enjoy. Embrace fashion by choosing quality pieces or go thrifting. Support ethical brands. Beauty routines can be simplified with eco-friendly products or DIY products. And for tech, opt for longer lasting devices. Repair your devices before replacing them. And recycle responsibly. Living sustainably doesn't mean saying no to all the things that you love. It means saying yes in a way that will align with your values. Next, there is no such thing as a perfectly sustainable person. I used to put so much pressure on myself to get everything exactly right. Zero waste, zero impact, zero mistakes. But guess what? That's impossible. We all slip up, we all make compromises, and we all learn as we go. It's not about perfection, it's about intention and effort. Every choice matters, even if it's not perfect. Embrace your progress, forgive your missteps, and keep moving forward. The real goal is growth, it's not perfection. Next, your values might shift, and that's just a sign of growth. When I first started, I had a different idea of what mattered most to me than what I have right now. Those priorities evolve, sometimes because of new information, sometimes because of life changes. That's all totally normal. Sustainability is not a rigid path, it's a personal journey, and it will grow with you. Maybe you cared more about plastic-free living at first, then shift to food waste or ethical consumption later. That evolution means that you're learning and you're adapting and becoming more aligned with your true self. Embrace the shifts. They're part of your eco-friendly growth and your sustainable living story. 2 more. It's okay to take the easy option sometimes, especially if you're in survival mode. Life gets overwhelming, and trying to also live sustainably while dealing with everything else that's going on can add extra stress. There are times where we need the convenience option, the prepackaged meals, skipping the recycling. That's okay. Sustainability is not about perfection or pressure. Sometimes taking the easy route is what can keep you going in the long run. The key is balance. Do what you can when you can, and don't let the guilt hold you back. Your well-being matters just as much as the planet's. Next, some eco swaps are actually just aesthetic things in disguise. I used to think swapping my straw for a bamboo one or something trendy was the ultimate green move. But then I realized if those swaps don't actually change my habits or reduce waste, they're just style changes, not real sustainability. True eco swaps should simplify your life and reduce your impact, not just look good on Instagram. It's easy to get caught up in the shiny and the new, but the real work is changing behaviors and habits, not just appearances. Choose swaps that make a meaningful difference, not just a pretty one. I promise you there are swaps that will do both. Those are all the things that I wish I knew. I feel like there was definitely more than 30 in there. A lot of different life lessons, a lot of overlapping things. I feel like just in general, sustainability is not about checking off the perfect list or comparing yourself to people around you. It's about finding what works for you and taking steps toward a meaningful life that includes a healthier planet and living a bit more mindfully. Every choice, big or small, matters, but also don't sweat the small stuff. This journey is a lot more fun and a lot more joyful when we do it together. If you found any of this helpful or relatable, please give me a thumbs up on the video. It helps me determine whether or not I should keep making this kind of content. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for more sustainable living content. If you've watched this far, you'll probably like the rest of my other content too. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know what's something that you wish you knew when you first started living sustainably. Always remember that it's progress over perfection, and we're all in it together. Keep showing up, keep learning, and keep caring about our planet. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. See you next time.